Jealous people are incapable of empathy. What is up, winning team? Hello, everyone. And today we're going to talk about this because I was just having a conversation with one of you guys. I love it here. And because I had like a little revelation, right? Because I was thinking about how, a lot of times if somebody, I've been thinking about, because I've observed it happening so many times where someone is jealous of somebody else. So somebody is like hearing about something that's happening to somebody else and they just are like, what's the word? So cold, like coldly just don't care. And what's occurred to me, having seen this happen so many times, is a lot of times the reason why that's happening is because the person who's being cold is jealous. And therefore, when they look at that other person, it's that phrase of what could possibly be wrong in your life because you have this or you have that or you did this or you did that. Whatever it is, what could possibly be wrong in your life kind of situation, right? And so even when those people then go through bad things, then the jealous people tend to look at it as if like they're kind of happy about it. And so I was talking with one of you guys about Jessie Nelson, right? Because you guys know she's been a big character on the channel, not on purpose, because it all started because I just made a video because, she had a whole scandal. If you don't know about it, she was a girl from Little Mix, which was a group that came together in X Factor, were put together in X Factor UK. And I watched it all happen at the time. I actually loved her. I remember her audition. She's one of probably the very few people who was successful off that show whose audition I actually remember. And I remember her audition. I remember loving her. When they put them together as a group, I was like, okay. I was quite happy with her to be a soloist. So I'm glad she circled back to that now. Obviously, it was by force. Well, it was by force she was put in the group, actually. And so, she had a whole scandal because when she decided to leave, she obviously books a job with Diddy, right? Well, not books a job. She obviously gets his song Bad Boys because her first song that she released was Bad Boys, which was a remix of Diddy's song like that, which he allowed her obviously to do. And she was all endorsed by Nicki Minaj. And yeah, her team, her previous members and whatever, one of them accuses, a whole bunch of people start to accuse her of blackfishing all of a sudden. Now, as I said before, as I'll say again, like, I find it fascinating again that, I find it fascinating how we pick and choose because there's so many other people I feel like could have been accused of blackfishing, to be honest with you. And also, I grew up in Essex, right? And in Essex, the girlies in Essex, they tan. I grew up with the girls at school were always fake tanning to the heavens. People, the tanning beds, like there's like, I don't know how many tanning places even locally here. There's only like not that many people. Okay, 90,000 people is quite a lot of people in this town. I've seen people tanning and stuff. So to me, I've never seen that as any kind of blackfishing. And I feel like the only reason it ever came up as that is because people were jealous. People were jealous. And so when she was being bullied because of her weight, the other girls are all quite slim. She was just more curvaceous. I always thought she's got a beautiful body. I think she's a lot smaller now. Her body's beautiful now. It was beautiful then. I've always thought she's had a beautiful body. Like I said, I loved everything about her. I thought she was beautiful. I thought she had a beautiful body. I thought she had incredible vocals. Also, she's got kind of more of an R&B style voice. So I feel like she was the recipe for, of course, everybody's going to be jealous of her. Kind of like similar to what I say about people like Chris Brown. Kind of like similar to a lot of people I'm going to mention in this video. And it's all going to come back to this, why jealous people cannot have empathy, right? She kind of has everything, right? Because she's this white girl who happens to have a really R&B voice. She kind of does have a bit of that racial and big ambiguity to her because of her hair being quite thick and curly, which again, people are trying to accuse her, why you're trying to be black. I've seen many white people with curly hair. I don't know when only black people could have curly hair. You know what I mean? All races, like, and again, I don't know why there's always this black versus white thing. Like, you forget that there's other communities that are not just black and white either. Like, that don't also get their time to be at the forefront of any conversations around race these days, unfortunately. Except for in this country these days because of, well, we won't get into it. Anywho, and she's got, she's really sweet. Like, one thing I never really realized is that having a really nice personality is actually not something that everybody has. Like, being really sweet or really nice to talk to or really kind and stuff like that isn't necessarily something that everybody has. It kind of almost is like its own skill, because some people are just naturally, again, I feel like a lot of these people, these jealous people are people who are like that, are just naturally more just like, and they tend to be the more self-centered people. That's why I've always had this issue with the word empath, because I don't really like, I technically, according to what all the things would be considered an empath. I don't call myself that because I kind of feel like there's a lot of pride behind how a lot of people use it, like, oh, I'm an empath, and so I feel deeply. I'm like, that should be the norm. We should all be empaths. So I don't want to like go and put myself in another category, and I don't need a title. You guys know I hate titles. I don't need to find some identity in the title. My identity is in Christ, right? I don't need some title, because we should all be empaths, right? We should all have empathy, all of us, because empathy is required in love. If you want to love somebody properly, you have to empathize with them, put yourself in their shoes. It's the easiest way to love somebody is to think, if I was in their position, what would I need? That's what I think when I'm thinking about people. Like I said, this is love 101. That's why I know love don't live here on this planet. It doesn't live here. Why do we have to have a sector of people that are considered empaths? We should all be empaths. But anyway, so she's kind of got it all. Like, I'm just going to say it for what it is, yeah? Okay? So as far as the white community is concerned, I know she's probably has some jealousy from other people in her own community for being so well accepted in the black community. From the black community, especially with Leanne, who was in her group, I know she would probably be jealous of her, of Jessie, for the voice that she has, for her being just like accepted into the African American flock, as I was saying to one of you guys. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean? When she, again, is in a group of other girls who are not black. So the black community is probably going to make it hard for her, because look, I'm just saying it all for what it really is. I'm just saying the truth. And the black community, it's tough. You know, a lot of black people accuse me of like, oh, you're not proud to be black, or you're not really black. I'm like, first of all, I grew up around a lot more white people than black people, for starters. Second of all, I even growing up in my house, like a lot of people who are from, whose parents are like African immigrants, we didn't even really eat the food from the countries I grew up in growing up. My parents never spoke to us in their languages growing up. You know, a lot of other people, they don't grow up like that. So I'm like, look, if I want to do those things, I have to now pick those things up. That's going to be another thing to add to my very long to-do list. So I'm trying to figure my life out. You know what I mean? So why am I now going to go and add to my list to just try and learn all this stuff just because, you know? Some ships have sailed, you know what I mean? And honestly, now if I'm going to learn a language, I want to learn Hebrew so I can read the Hebrew Bible and, you know, Aramaic and all this stuff, right? So I know what it feels like, you know what I mean? I'm very proud to be black. I'm very proud to be African. I talk about it all the time. I feel like I'm the most proud because I don't have to throw it in people's face. And again, it doesn't have to become some title that I need to hide behind to have something, some kind of identity. You know what I mean? Again, my identity is in Christ. It just so happens that I'm a Christ person who comes from Africa, a place that I love, and I think is fantastic. And I think, listen, if Africa was to show up and we were all to get serious over there and start learning again proper empathy and selflessness in Africa as a continent altogether, all the different countries, I've said I think we should become the United States of Africa, and every African country should become a state. The world is finished if Africa rises up. The amount of things that we have within our land, the amount of things that we have in ourselves as people, it's done. So I'm very proud to be African. Can I just say that? But it's funny how, again, like I know what it's like to deal with the black community. And I've told you guys stories of how you get treated when you're not like trying so hard to like either feel sorry for yourself because of slavery or be like, oh yeah, you know, the struggle. Like, you know, that's one of the reasons I'm not really well accepted or, you know, whatever. So I can imagine that for somebody like Leanne, you know, who probably has some a bit of an identity crisis there of, you know, being in a group that's very not what a lot of would be considered black culture, which again, I don't know why we have these color-based cultures. I really hate this race thing. I don't know if you guys can tell. I really hate this race thing. And I think it's because I've just had good and bad experiences with all races, and it's just, we're just all humans. But we all are susceptible to things, and we all have things as a result of our histories. And a large time it's more to do with where as opposed to what we are. It's where we've been, you know, because like I said, being in Africa, the situation there is very different. Whichever country you're in, from say being like somewhere like here, I'm in a small, tiny little island with these tiny little houses where like me talking like this, the heck my neighbor could probably hear me. In Africa, the land is a lot bigger. You know what I mean? It's a big place. It's a big. I don't think people understand, and I do think Africa is made to look smaller on the map on purpose. I remember the first time somebody said that to me, and I actually agree with that. Having traveled, it's a big place. It's big. So you know, I can understand that Leanne would have some kind of jealousy there, you know what I mean? Because, you know, Jessie's got this thing, she's kind of got the thing that's like the cool parts about being a black girl, the thing that's the cool parts about being a white girl together. She's got the soulful voice, she appeals to everybody, she's kind, she's beautiful, she's probably quite confident because her vocals are on another level. She's one of those, like, some of our people like me, I feel like there's categories when it comes to singing, right? I feel like you have the people who are like born vocalists that they never need to stop singing, and we need to just make sure they're singing forever. You know what I mean? And there's people that can sing and are good at singing, but maybe it's not necessarily like their whole, they you know what I mean? They may not be the best of every singer in the world, you know what I mean? But maybe singing is a part of some of the things they do. I would class myself in that category of, like, I can sing good enough. You know what I mean? But I'm never going to be like a Jessie Nelson, nor do I want to be, because she should be her and she's in her lane, and I'm loving that for her over there. And I love to see someone like her. And I feel like there's just, you know, she's just got that star quality, which is, again, something you can't curate. I do believe it's God-given if it is your destiny. That's also why I don't believe in these things like luck. I feel like if it was for you, it's going to be yours. That's also why I don't believe in competing with others but jealousy in itself. Because I'm like, why would I be jealous? What's for me is for me, and no one can take it away from me, because it's got I'm the one, it is created for me. God created that opportunity for me, and he created me with that in mind. So anybody can take that from me because it's mine. So if it's mine, I'll get there. I just need to do my part. Why am I going to go and covet what somebody else has? And so now what I've realized, again, and this is where, when you're thinking like that, there's other people are thinking, that person's taking my opportunity. Because that's kind of like what happened when Jessie dropped her song Bad Boys. It went bad. If you guys want to hear about it, I have a whole playlist, right? Shout out to the angels in the building, if any of you are here. I have a whole playlist breaking all this stuff down, right? And what happened was, obviously they were saying, and even Emanike gets involved, they're like, we should be promoting other black artists, or whatever the heck it was that they were saying on Twitter at the time. And it was like, well, why isn't the black people promoting black people? Why are we always like asking, because especially me as someone, one of the reasons I stopped my dance group, I've never talked about this in that much detail. I had started my dance group specifically for black women, right? For black girls, because of my experiences as a black girl in the industry. And I wanted to change the narrative around us always being seen winding our waists and twerking. And I was like, we need to show we can do more than just that. So that was my goal with my girls. And I was watching the videos of that last night, and it's just, I miss them. And the first moment I had in the studio with them, and the first time seeing them dance together, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for that video, because we just had a synergy that day. And ever since then, we all felt it, and it just clicked. And I love those girls so very much, you know. And my point with that is that I saw a problem, and rather than going and needing whatever and having jealousy, I just created the solution. I became the solution to the problem myself. I said, I'll start the company. I'll get the girls. I'll start changing the narrative. And I did, with the girls, teach different styles that you don't normally see black girls doing on purpose, and get other people in to try and help as well and stuff like that, you know, to the best of my abilities. And then I realized I'd bit off more than I can chew. Well, I didn't believe I was the leader the girls deserved yet. And so I was like, I need to really do some digging deep and run it back if I want to. But now I wouldn't even go do just black girls, to be fair. I would just do any girls who are struggling by being, you know, overly sexualized in the industry. But the point is, jealous people will look at you as the problem, as opposed to you going and doing their own thing. And I feel like that's what Jessie went through. I feel like the only thing that anybody could have picked on her for was her weight, right? And then, so because of that, I feel like the other girls struggled to have the empathy that she needed for the things that she was facing, because they were jealous. I'm imagining being in the studio with somebody like her. Like, say if I had to go, oh my goodness, God forbid I'm ever singing on a song with her. Because, well, I mean, I would love to do that. But as in, like, her vocals. I'm imagining her being in the studio as talented as she is, you know, and confident and sweet and kind and whatever, you know, and how intimidated other people must feel. Because I've realized losers are oftentimes, when they're intimidated, because there's a difference between being intimidated and being aware, but then just, you know, it ends there, and being intimidated and then that turning into jealousy. You know what I mean? There's two different kinds. You can be intimidated by somebody, and it's just wow, this person's intimidating them. They're so whatever it is, cool. But if that then fosters into a jealousy where it's like, and that then becomes competition, that's where the lack of empathy is gonna enter the building, because it's like, now you have all this stuff, you're thriving, you're whatever. So of course I'm never gonna feel sorry for you, because I can't feel sorry for you because you live the life that I want. And that's the thing with jealous people. They're so hyper fixated. They're the ones who hyper fixate. They're so hyper fixated on whatever you have that they want, or whatever you have that's triggering their insecurities, that now whatever else could be happening to you, they can't see it. They can't see it, because for as far as they're concerned, you have this, right? This is why you see things like so many celebrities who come out with what's happened to them in the industry and what's happened to them, and people are like so shocked. Like Paris Hilton was a perfect example. Hold on a second. Yeah, so like I was saying, like Paris Hilton, growing up, I never thought, oh, she's just some dumb, blonde, rich girl. I never thought like that, because I don't know her. I feel like people said that because they were jealous. And so when she came out with her story about how she had been abused at the camp that she was being taken to, people were so shocked, because it's like, oh my gosh, she's rich and she's beautiful. How could anything bad possibly happen to her? You know what I mean? How could anything bad possibly happen to her? And everybody was shocked all of a sudden. Or like how quick and excited everybody was when Chris Brown, you know, like I said, this was a game-changing life moment for me when I was a teenager, because seeing how everybody flipped one night, people are saying, oh, Chris Brown's performing at the MTV and whatever music awards. We think they might be the next Michael Jackson, right? To woman beater. At 19 he's been labeled by the world a woman beater. And you know why? Because he's tall, he's handsome, he can sing, he can rap, and he can dance. Yeah, and he's good with women. Like, it's, again, a lot of men out there, they feel jealous of other men, yeah? And I'm sorry to say it, you got to work on your game, my friend. Like this, listen, I said I'm going to say what I have to say, and I'm going to try to stop holding back, overly coddling people's feelings. Listen, from all the times I talk to a lot of guys, yeah? I'm like, or I should say I get approached by a lot of guys. Saying I talk to a lot of guys is crazy. I actually don't, by the way. I just like to make that really clear. I actually don't. Can I just make that really clear that I don't talk to a lot of guys? Okay? Because like I said, I'll give you the chance if you want a date. I'll tell you that I'm not interested, and I'll say there's no point, but then they want to anyway. So I'm like, you know what, fine. If you want to, I'll at least give you a chance, because it's not nice. If you feel like somebody never gave you a chance, I understand that's not a nice feeling. So that's why I give them a chance anyway, you know? But you know, it's so starkly different. Again, like the losing mentality, when I hear the guys are like, oh, this guys, that's why a lot of guys, they assume that us girls, as soon as we have an opportunity to be with a man, we're just sleeping with them. It's because you're jealous, because you don't have access to women, and you think that if you did, that's what you would do. But that's not what we're doing. It happens a lot. I see it happen on social media, where people think that, oh, someone, if as soon as a girl's hanging out with a guy, oh yeah, he definitely hit. It's like, actually, no. You see, the thing is, this is what I'm saying about losing and losers mentality and the jealousy of it all, right? You think, oh, because that person has this thing or that thing that you want, then they have to, you know, it's always the worst thing that you're thinking of them. You know what I'm saying? Because that also happens to me. It's like, oh yeah, if the guy talks to you, then you have to have slept. That means you within seconds, you were taking your clothes off and you were spreading those legs. That's what you're thinking. That's what I'm saying, is losing mentality. Whereas other guys know that doesn't necessarily happen. We've had a lot of access to women. And those are I hate to say it, but I prefer to talk to those guys, to be there a lot of the time, because they're a lot nicer. Those are the guys who really have inexperienced, but I was super humble. I love me a humble king. Guys who are humble are so attractive. Can I just say that? I just feel like, you know what, I just want to look after you. Like, that's what I always think in my head. I'm like, you're just so precious and we just want to look after you. So anyway, I've gone off the rails with that. But you guys get what I'm saying about Chris Brown, right? Like, he because of all of that, as soon as he did what he did, oh, we're never forgetting him. He's labeled one woman beater at 19 years old. Labeled a woman beater now for his life. That's now his title, according to everybody. We love labels here, don't we? Like I said. But other people, oh, we'll sweep that under the carpet. Kris Jenner, the mother of the Kardashians, right? Oh, she prostitutes her daughter, and everyone's still, oh, what a loving mother. She's executive produced her daughter's own sex tape, makes her redo the sex tape because it didn't go well enough the first time. And she's like, sorry, I was trying to articulate how I would feel about the concept of my own daughter even having a sex tape. Lord Jesus. You know, and posting it for the sake of fame or whatever. And what does the world go? Oh my gosh, Chris, the loving mother, she's such a loving, oh my gosh, you can tell how much Chris loves her kids. That's why I realize jealous people they don't have empathy. This is what I'm trying to say. They don't have empathy. They don't have whatever. They don't, if you're, that's why when it's somebody that you want or you worship or you like, or you're not whatever jealous of in any way, that's why a lot of these leaders, let's be honest, they get away with things. It doesn't surprise me how many of these preachers and leaders are getting away with stuff, because let's be real, a lot of them are not necessarily, oh, I was about to say something so harsh. I'm not going to say it. Let's not just go there. Let's not. Let's just say they're not living desirable lives, innit? Let's just put it like that. They're not living necessarily desirable lives in a lot of ways, other than maybe the fact that they have money. So, this is definitely Savage Central today. And so, so I realized that, in a lot of instances, that's exactly what it is. Like, I feel like with Jessie, I feel like the group, the team, they weren't that bothered. They were jealous. They were jealous. So they had no empathy for her situation. They had absolutely no empathy for her situation. They were probably happy to see her getting bullied because they were jealous. Same with Jamie Lynn, right? With Britney. Like Jamie Lynn, again, Britney's another one. Britney Spears, a lot of people kept silent. Of course they would. A lot of people never spoke up or defended her. Of course they would. You know why? Because she was living the life that they all wanted. She was a pop star. And again, absolutely beautiful, incredible vocals, and like a very, unique sound in her voice, like a very signature sound. Just, I feel like Jessie has a signature sound as well, because there's a lot of people who make music. There's a lot of people who are singers, but not everybody's an artist, right? So she's very much, I would class Jessie and Chris Brown and Britney as artists. Even Paris, because Paris is even saying how she always put on the voice and everything because she realized give the people what they want, she can get rich, because it's her dream to become a billionaire. Winner. So while everybody else thinks they're laughing at her, something the losers always look stupid at the end of the day. Like, while everyone else thinks they're laughing at her, making fun of her for just being the dumb, stupid, blonde, whatever, she's getting filthy rich off of people hating. She's getting filthy freaking rich off of it. And good for her and good on her for that. But with Britney, again, signature voice, gorgeous, stunning, beautiful, and again, absolute sweetheart, so nice and loving and caring. Of course, people are going to be jealous. So I feel like a lot of the other pop stars who are not a Britney Spears, you know what I mean, who are not as iconic, obviously were happy to see her downfall, probably happy to see her in the state that she's in. That's why I feel like a lot of people didn't speak up, because they saw things happening. And again, her sister especially, and her sister tried to be like, oh, well, I just wanted to respect Britney and Britney's choices because it's her privacy. And it's like, shut the freak up, Jamie Lynn. And can I just say, it's so creepy how Britney got named Britney Spears. Obviously, and then their last child, Jamie Lynn, like their favorite, who was all working with them, is named after both parents, because her parents are James and Lynn. It's like, it's just everything about this is giving Britney was the sacrifice, and it just makes me sick. And a lot of these people, I feel like, were sacrificed. Like I said, I believe Chris Brown was sacrificed by his own mother, because he's all like, priding himself, oh, bless him, it's just another man trusting in the wrong woman. He's all like, I would trust all my money with my mom and this, that, and this. And I'm thinking, your mother is this close with you, and you're still going through the things that you're going through, and you have a mother in your life. Seems like she's enjoying the spoils of the chaos that you're involved in more than she is protecting her own son. Because I've seen it in the industry when people have actually stepped up for their own kids and been like, you can't be here, and actually looked after them, like for their sake of their actual health, mental health and everything. And I'm like, he's going back and forth between drug addictions with this, that, and the other, and going ups and downs and all of this and that. And your mum, you're close to your mother. Like, what the hell is she doing? Like, to be honest with you. But anyway, hey, who am I to talk, right? Anyways, the point of this video was to highlight the fact that people are not going to have empathy when they're jealous. Jealous people are incapable of empathy, because they just feel like, you have what I want, you have everything that I want, so how could your life possibly be bad? How could anything possibly be wrong with you? I've realized that that happens with me. I've realized that now. I'm so glad to have realized that. Like I always say to you guys that no one believes me and whatever. It's like, it's not that nobody believes me. It's that they can't see it, because it's like, and I noticed it when I noticed a particular look, like when I'm talking about my struggles, I get this look from people, and it's like, it doesn't compute. It's like, you see like the little dotted thing that does this, in circles going around their head, like they're trying to compute, because it doesn't make any sense that there could be any form of suffering taking place in my life, because how could I suffer in any way? Because I have whatever it is that they think I have, whether it's intelligence, whether it's this, I don't know that. You know what I mean? And that's a bitter truth about life. And that's why I say to you guys, listen, you need to be careful not to have jealous people around you. If you see people displaying jealous behavior, this is why there's some friends I've lost, in the last, I've gained and lost friends in the last couple of years, right? And some of them that I've lost, I'm happy, because now I'm looking back and I'm realizing that the reason why I felt those relationships a lot of times were one-sided, because I did feel that way, is because I'm being there for them. And when they're saying whatever they're saying, I'm taking them at face value, and I'm like trying to help. I'm trying to be their shoulder to cry on. I'm trying to, be there for them and all that, just as we all do. But then when I'm now saying what I'm saying, it's kind of going over their heads, right? And at first I was like, and then they'll act as if like, oh, you never told me that such and such was happening. It's like, I did tell you that. I told you that about 10 times. And I started to realize that, hold on a minute. When I tell you about certain things, like when I tell you that those things, they go over your head. And when I tell you positive things, there's that little, and you know how I know this? I had a situation, like the first time I went to Italy, right? I made a friend there, and the one who's off killing the freaking game. She's inspired me so much, like to actually level up. Like I'm not on her level, and I need to level myself up. Like I don't even feel worthy at this point, because she's just killing it out here, touring multiple countries, getting lead roles in all these different theaters all over Europe at the moment. Just absolutely killing it in all these different languages, and she's just freaking a superstar. And again, she's stunning. And can I just say, and it's going to sound so inappropriate, I've never seen a woman naked more beautiful, with a more beautiful body than hers. I was looking at her, I was like, how the hell? Because, we all look different in clothing. And obviously us ladies today, we wear things like skims and all these things to try and hold things together, create illusions, wear this like that. So, how you look in clothes and how you look naked is two different things. And again, it's a girl thing. I know for the guys, it's a bit weird, but as us ladies, we do these things. You know what I mean? It's just normal. Obviously, unfortunately, nowadays, I wouldn't do stuff like that, because now we're all going lesbian. So I don't want to send anybody the wrong messages, but me and her are very much straight, because that's what we'd be talking about, is the guys all the time. It was so nice to finally have a female that I could just talk openly about my experiences with guys without it getting weird, because we were having the same experiences. So we'd be like running off together in the corner, like at production. Like this is the first, and this is obviously that year we did like four different locations. So as we're with the production and all this stuff is going down, and we're like off in the corner, and everyone's always like, why are you guys always over there talking? Because like things are going down. And then also we didn't know why they were asking, and some of these guys, because like, well, you know what you did, you know what happened, like, and it was scandalous things were happening, not with us. Well, no, I'm joking, not with us, but some of the other things. Anyways, the first year I went to Italy, I can't wait to tell you guys the juice of that another day. But I realized that like the reason why our relationship worked so much was like, because the first time we were both just genuinely like so excited for each other. There was no jealousy in the room. And then also because of that, there was so much empathy on both sides, because we would also be like crying, like we'd be like crying together, or she would be crying, or I'll be crying. And like I really felt heard and listened to as well, like in my friendship with her, because, I felt like she, again, there was no sense of competition, again, which only arises as a result of jealousy in the first place. There was no sense of competition. We were just both thriving and enjoying, and you know what I mean? And she even made me laugh, because when I went back to see her again, and we went clothing shopping, and she needed to get a whole bunch of clothes, so obviously she was going to be jet setting all over the place. And I wasn't really buying any clothes or anything. I wasn't really in the mood. She was just there like showing me all her clothes, and she was like, you're so nice. It's so nice to have somebody bigging me up like this. Like you're making me feel like whatever, because I was obviously like, commenting on her clothing. And like, it's these little things, and that's why, and it's like when I was in those types of environments, and then being in other environments where it's like you even just peeking out a little bit of confidence within yourself, other people just treat it so poorly, and then they just don't have empathy, because they're like, oh, but what do you mean you're having what do you mean that something bad happened to you, when I thought you were winning at this, and you were thriving with that, and you were confidently doing this, and you're confidently doing that? How could anything ever be possibly wrong in your life because of that? And that's what I feel like, again, with the celebrities, a lot of people, a lot of the child stars, the reason they never got the help that they needed, hold on a second, is because people were so busy just assuming that their lifestyle must be amazing. Oh my gosh, how cool it must be to get to be famous, to get to meet all these celebrities, to get to have money, to get to be in Hollywood, to get to have all these people seeing you and all this. people couldn't sympathize. And I feel like so many of them, the reason why, and I mean, it's sad when when I look at the child stars now and I look at the state that so many of them are in, I feel for them, because I know that they're not going to get the help that they need, because they're either going to have the industry that wants to continue to take advantage of them, and then they're going to have the world that's going to struggle to have empathy, because the world is looking at them like, well, you had everything, like you're famous, you went through everything. So that for some reason invalidates any type of bad thing happening. And that's what I'll say to you guys anyways in closing. I will close the video out, is that, you know, be very careful in your life not to have people around you who are jealous. Like, be very careful in your life not to have people around you who don't have empathy for you as well. Know that jealous people will not have empathy. You know, jealous people will not have empathy for you, because as far as they're concerned, your life has to be perfect because you have something that they want. And that's why jealousy is so dangerous as a spirit, as a demon, and as a spirit, right? Because I mean, at first it just starts as a thing, but once you keep engaging with it, you're then inviting the demon itself. You know what I mean? I mean, we all get a bit jealous in here and there. I'm not saying that any ounce of jealousy is like, oh my gosh. I'm talking about when you now become consumed in said jealousy, right? And especially when you're a winner, you won't notice who's jealous around you, just like how people don't notice the Jezebel when you're winning, because you're so busy focusing on what you're doing, right? You're so busy locked in, like with Britney Spears. She's out here, she's directing her own music videos and coming up with the ideas, writing her own songs, making up, like, you know what I mean? She was teaching her own dances while she was on lithium, doing her residency in Vegas. Like, girl, it's crazy. And so we have to get to a point where, like, we understand as a people that, like, as a winners over here in the winning team, that these jealous people are dangerous and they're never going to have empathy. And if you've got people around you who's maybe struggling to have empathy, who you feel like don't really understand you or don't really get you, you might be dealing with the jealous person. Just keep that in mind. You might be dealing with a jealous person. And if that's the case, I just want you to know that there is no point saying anything. Whatever you say, it's not going to matter, because whatever inside them, the deep insecurity, because a lot of times your success can trigger somebody else's insecurity. That's why I went on a whole explanation about Jessie and the different communities as far as race and stuff. If you're a black girl like Leanne, and you are insecure about your blackness because maybe you don't have as much experience, maybe you don't feel as accepted in the community, etc. Jessie being so well received as a white woman is going to be triggering for her. It's going to be triggering for her insecurity, and it's going to produce jealousy. You know what I'm saying? And the same could happen on the other side of, you know, if you're a white girl watching someone like Jessie. I'm just talking about women at the moment because I don't know what's happening in the male department. We never will know. I truly believe if I studied men for the rest of my life, I still won't understand what the hell is happening over there. But we love them. Anyway, and so, you know, if you're on a white girl looking at somebody like Jessie, right, it's like, wow, she gets to be why does she get so accepted and whatever, because it's not a good thing. But the black community does have this thing of doing that, we accept this and we don't that, and, you know, that's why Drake and the Robin Thicks of it all and certain people get like accepted as part of almost like the black community in a weird kind of way. It's so weird. I don't know why we do that, but I'm just saying the things for the state of what we're in, okay? Because that's just the state of, this is just where we're at, or this whole cookout thing. I never want to hear the word cookout. I don't even live in America, and I'm sick of hearing about that. Can I just say? Anyway, who's invited to the cookout? Like, oh gosh, I hate it here. But anyway, you know, of course, then if she's going through something, no one's going to care. No one's going to have empathy, because it's like, what do you mean? You're getting accepted over there in the black community. Or what do you mean? You know what I mean? What do you mean? You're getting this. You're living the lifestyles of the rich and famous, blah, 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 blah. And that's why when they had anything they could pick at her for, like her weight, because obviously she wasn't the industry standard weight, you know, you're supposed to be. She wasn't looking like a Tate McRae. You know what I mean? You know, that was the thing everybody chose to pick on. You know what I mean? Similar to how I feel like with Chris Brown, as soon as he made a mistake, everyone's like, finally we have something to villainize you for. And I realize that's also where I deal with people being hypercritical, because it's like, and the thing is, it backfires, because when people criticize me, I actually internalize it. And if it's valid enough, I will actually improve. And that's why people doing that throughout my life, the haters, have actually helped me to improve, because where they were trying to bully, I just rose to the occasion. Losers. Losers. Thank you. Shout out to the losers for sponsoring my winning season. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, people find something that they can pick on. I realize that that's what happens with me as well, is that people are just, the reason why people are so comfortable to pick on me is because, like, well, you have everything anyway, you have it, and I actually don't. I actually very much don't have everything. And a lot of things I've worked for. And guess what? Whether I did or I didn't, God has something for everyone. That's why the jealousy thing is stupid. Like I said, God has a pathway that's for everyone. And it's just about everybody getting onto their own path and finding what God created for you. But then you need to focus on yourself and God and not be walking in jealousy. Because and again, especially if you're a believer, how can believers have jealousy? Oh my gosh, I'm going to actually talk about this in the next video. Maybe I will. I'll think about it because this son situation is bothering me. So we may regroup a bit later or we'll regroup now. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Jealous people are always they're incapable of empathy. If somebody is jealous of you, they're not going to sympathize with you. They're not going to understand your situation. They're not going to be caring or nothing like that. It's not going to happen because as far as they're concerned, your life is perfect. Your life is amazing. You have everything that they want. What could possibly be wrong with you? What could possibly be wrong in your life? Nothing could be wrong because you have whatever. So you need to remove those people. Find yourself a friend like the one I found in Italy. You know what I mean? And I've also some other friends I've made now as well, where it's like, you know, we get to like, it's exciting. Because again, I noticed it's so subtle. And it's actually a killer of your success, right? Because every time I realize that because I'm so not able to talk to people about my ideas, because they get offended that like, who are you to think you can pull that off? Then I kind of shy back, you know, and I kind of feel like Jesse's even doing that. Whereas when I get to actually talk about it, when I actually get to sit down and talk about the business and talk about this and talk about that, then it actually pushes me to, like when I sent my friend my song, the one in it, the one who I met when I got to Italy the first time, she was the one I sent my song to first. My first song, Scared to Live, and she was like, get in the studio. You know what I mean? Get in the studio. And she's actually one of the few people that, since I've made music, who's actually invested in the story. Like you guys, other people are just a little bit looking at me like, well, who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you are? Like, if I even was to talk about my music, then they'll start acting a bit weird. Like, that's the weird thing. It's like, it's so strange. It's only at this age I'm getting to understand what's not strange because I'm now settling into adulthood. Horrible. It's so strange how much like as somebody who has such big dreams and big ideas, I'm like, tell me your ideas because I'm going to be invested in whatever you're doing. Listen, whatever you want to do, I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be supporting. I'm going to come and volunteer for free. Like, what do you need? Where do you need me to be? What is your dream? What is your desire? I'll help you out, like whatever I can do. Because for me, I'm like, I want to see everybody thrive in whatever God created you to thrive in. But when you're around jealous people, that can't happen. They're not going to be able to acknowledge you. They're not going to be able to acknowledge your empathy. And when you're going through it and you're struggling, it's like me. If I say that, oh, you know, say I'm running a business or something, or like, oh, you know, I'm stressed out because of work or whatever, like it's really tough, you know, running your own business. It's like, really, is it really tough? Because you get to be your own CEO, you get to make your own schedule, you get to do this. And it's like, yeah, and that means I'm the one who's responsible for absolutely everything. And that's one of the things that stresses me out now, having my own business. It's like, it all sounds like fun and games to everybody, but it's like, well, no, because if I'm the one I'm at the top of the food chain here. So if I'm not booking people, if I'm not booking, like it's all down to me. I'm not just showing up somewhere and getting paid a salary. I'm doing it all myself. So it's constant stress. So when I'm telling people about all my stress with work over the last couple of years, I think people just goes over their head because what do you mean you get to run your own business? You get to do things in your own time. You get to do things in your own way. It's like, yeah, that is cool. And it is very nice, but also it is terrifying. And that's why I started applying for jobs. Like, I'd honestly rather just go and show up somewhere. Because it's a lot of work. But again, if you're thinking that this is the lifestyles of the rich and famous, then you're not going to have any empathy. And that's why I say to you guys, listen, be careful. We're cutting people out. Listen, I've been in a season of where I've been cutting people out. I've been having conversations with people, not directly telling them that I think that they're a jealous person or I think that they're a loser, but just to let them know that, listen, the time is done with this relationship. Love you, wish you the best for the future. I will always keep you in my prayers, but you will be being cut off. Respectfully, because I've realized that now we need to just run for the hills and we need to just give everything we've got, you guys, and we ain't got time to be around people that are going to lack the empathy when we need it, because all of us at some point are going to need empathy. I'll think of another person, Stephanie Joshi, my favorite fitness influencer, Nutty Foodie Fitness. Again, she's naturally got abs and she can naturally eat a lot of food. I did a whole video where she's in it about Leah Shutkever. And, you know, she doesn't have that many subscribers, like for how long she's been doing it and how good her content is. I feel like she should have more. I feel like, again, it's the jealousy thing. because being a girl that can eat basically whatever she wants, and she eats far more than her boyfriend. It's really funny. She eats so much, like she eats constantly. It's really funny. And she's just like ripped. She does train now. She's the one who inspired me to want to do the oh, I didn't talk about that in this video, never mind. And you know, in one of her videos, I remember as she was training for the Ironman, she was talking about, which is a triathlon, by the way. I remember her talking about how, you know, she was crying in one of her videos, saying how, you know, she sometimes feels like she has nobody to talk to, because everybody just expects that when she's going through it, she feels like everybody just expects she's just going to easily bounce back, because she always bounces back. And so when she actually needs people, they're not really there, because they're too busy just assuming she's fine, because she usually is fine. But just because she is fine a lot of the time, and she does have it in her, doesn't mean she doesn't have her hard days. And when she is having them, she doesn't feel like she has anybody, because everyone's like, oh, but we know you're fine, we know you'll bounce back. And that's kind of something, when she said that, I never heard more relatable words in my life, where it's like, yes, that's true, and that's fine, but sometimes you do need people. Sometimes it would be nice for somebody to hear you and feel seen and feel understood, you know what I mean? And feel like somebody's empathizing with your situation. And I feel like that's where it's the truth of the situation of being a winner. I talked about the mountain aspect in my previous video, so you should check that out. I feel like, sorry guys, I'm trying to avoid the rays of sun, otherwise this is what you'd be seeing. And I've been moving, but the sun, we're not getting away from it, because it's moving obviously in the daytime, and I'm talking for a long time. That's why the sun is literally moving throughout the video. That's crazy. I've been talking for too long. Anyways, you get the gist. Like, of course no one's going to feel empathy for her. Of course nothing can be wrong in her life. What do you mean? You're a girl with abs, natural abs, and can eat whatever she wants. That's literally a woman's dream. Literally, those are the things that we struggle with, like our weight, because our bodies naturally keep more fat, and we keep extra fat around our stomachs, again, for childbearing. So our body naturally wants to keep a bit of weight there, a bit of stomach in the stomach. So for childbearing, and so, you know what I mean? And so it's just insane. And so we do really have to watch what we eat and stuff, probably arguably more than the men, you know what I mean, in a way, because our body is going to be like, yay, oh my gosh, this is going to help us with the baby. To an extent, let's just be honest about that part, you know. So yeah, to see somebody like her, for other people who are jealous, yeah, they're not going to be able to ever empathize with her, because it's like, how do you get to live that lifestyle? And it's like, yeah, there's nothing can be wrong in your life. That's the thing. Nothing can be wrong in your life. That's the energy. I've felt it so many times. But anyways, we're cutting those people out. I've got lots of great friends these days. Well, not lots, because I decided I'm going to hone down a small group of people. And in that small group I'm going to keep that small group of people, and I'm going to invest more time in them and you guys. And I honestly feel quite content with my circle at the moment. Very, very small circle, but I'm quite happy with it. It's good. It's thriving. I got a good groups of peeps. I got you guys. I'm quite happy right now. And I'm doing some snip, 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 because I ain't got time to be having these kind of energies around me when I'm thriving. And when I'm going to be thriving, but going through those days that are going to happen where I'm going to be struggling, I'm going to have people that are going to hear me out and be understanding. And you guys need to make sure you have the same for yourself, and not be surrounded by people who are blinded by your greatness. And essentially, that's what it is. They're blinded by your greatness. They're jealous. They cannot have any empathy. And on that note, you guys, we're going to go, because the sun is shining and I'm going out. I'm going to go out. I need to grab a few things, and then I actually plan to come back and record. Hopefully, the best time to record is the bit when the sun goes just past my window, because then the rays come in, and that's when you guys see me looking peng on the internet. Anyways, you guys, life's a game, let's play to win. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Remember what I said. Don't forget what I said. Jealous people are incapable of empathy. There is no point negotiating. There's no amount of words you're going to say. There's no amount of talking. Nothing. They are going to just remain there, because the fact is, whatever you say, the fact in their head is like, you're like, oh, I had a hard time. Oh, I was abused. Oh, my husband beats me up. My wife does this, whatever. Oh, my friend cheated on me. My friend slept with my boyfriend. Oh, all the girls in my friendship group turned on me. Oh, whatever. You're saying that. All they can hear is, but you're beautiful. But you're beautiful, but you're rich, but you're successful, but you won this, but you have that, but you this. That's all they can hear. Whatever you're saying, they can't hear anything else other than the thing that they have in them. And that's also why if they do see your downfall and they are listening, a lot of times, and this is why you don't open up to these people, they're enjoying it. They're happy to see your downfall. They're happy to hear in detail how much you're suffering. They're happy to see it. That's what I feel like was happening with Jesse and everything as well. You know, they're happy to see you suffering. They're happy. Because they're like, oh, I guess we're not so perfect after all. And you're like, I never thought I was perfect anyway. You did. And that's you projecting your own insecurities. And that's the real life. And that's why it's sad to be a loser. And if you have those feelings, listen, the Lord can deliver you. Just dig deep, because it's a waste of time. The Lord has something for all of us. The Lord has success. Winning is for the taking, and winning is for everyone. You know, that's what Jesus came to do, to show you that winning is for everybody. We can all win. We can all be at the top together. I don't understand why that's been such a hard thing for me to achieve with people throughout my life. But then I do, because a lot of people don't have what it takes, and a lot of people become overcome with pride and jealousy. Anyways, guys, life's a game. Let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.